sections people are moving over to cloud for and what they're moving over to it for. For example, people who are in the supply chain management business, they are getting more benefits in the logistics and demand planning side, and that's really helping their companies move forward. Some positive factors that are causing people to move over to SAS or cloud applications is that there's a lower cost of ownership, there's lower upfront cost, and it's much easier to implement. For people who have moved over to clouds, they have been able to tally their accounting books quicker. They've got 93% complete on-time shipments, 96% inventory accuracy, 91% customer satisfaction. So all of those have improved for them. Now this is just a slide that shows all our applications. I'd like you to take a couple minutes to look over it and let me know what sections you might want me to focus more on, because we do have several that might be a fit for your company and there's several that might not.
Okay. One thing, I'm not sure if any of your modules cover like marketing features.
Mm-hmm. Our CRM definitely does.
Okay, so I would want to look at that, and if you have anything for plan to produce, is that just planning only, or does that go to the production floor?
It's the full process.
Okay, so anything that would help us schedule, we call them our orders, we call them jobs, schedule our jobs, and then, pretty much monitor them throughout the production process.
Okay. Now, our application gives you 3 ways to navigate, and all 3 are built into the system, so you can pick whichever one's easiest for you. The first is menu-based, so there's going to be bars at the top and at the side of the application, and you can just click through them. The second one is icon-based, and there will be these nice big icons you can click on, which is really, really great if you're using a mobile app such as the iPad or the iPhone. And then we have our search-based, and I will show you where each of those are located when I actually go into the system.
Okay.
Now, this is just a quote from the Gartner Group saying that SAS is growing, and by 2015, it will have reached a projected $21.3 billion in revenue. And CRM is the fastest growing market. Most companies out there are focusing on CRM, so there aren't that many currently doing the other applications. That's where we come in. We're giving you the one application that can do it all. And I will just go ahead and move on over to the application now, unless you have any questions about the presentation.
No.
Okay. Let's move on over there. Okay. This is what our application looks like. As you can see, it is actually browser-based. So anywhere that you can access the Internet, you can get into our application. So if you have people traveling for sales, they can get directly into the system and put that information in right then and there, so they don't have to make notes and have the possibility of errors because they've wrote something messily and they can't read it later on.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with going over the basic architecture and how to use the system. These icons are the ones that I mentioned earlier, the really big ones. This is one way to navigate. I'm just going to go into our human resource application here, and these are our other applications. And then I'm going to show you the architecture through here. Every single application will have its own workbench, and this will integrate directly with your Outlook, and it'll put all your alerts from the system. It'll take and put in any of your calendars from your Outlook. That way you have everything in one place. And this will be different for every person, but it comes with every module. Every module will also come with the administration section, and the first one is always going to be company setup. After that, it's going to be specific to the application. Since this is the human resource one, you have everything from your employee setup to your performance setup to your benefits setup. Okay. And also, everyone will come with reports, and these are also specific to the application. However, we do have a BI tool where if you need something customized or if you need a special report, those can be made there, and that does come with the system.
What type of reports are they?
For the BI tool or for each application?
Yeah, I mean, like, what do you use to write your reports with, like crystal reports or?
No, it's a Microsoft BI. It's a SSIS, SQL Server Information System.
Okay.
So it's all based on SQL Server reporting.
But the report writer is called BI?
No, it's our own proprietary tool. So under the administration, if you see there is tools and interface, and this has a report design engine, if you see it under the export piece.
Okay, because I do a lot of my own report writing using Excel reports and SQL Server database. So what I
so it's all a drag and drop sort of a functionality. So if you know your tables and you know what sort of a SQL query you're writing, you can just do it by drag and drop from the feature of the application. And it builds all these dashboards along with all the query generator.
Okay.
So no separate expense for a BI tool, basically.
Okay.
Go ahead, Becca.
And this is our dashboards, and the good thing about this is it's very customizable and configurable. You can just drag and drop if you need something in a different area. You can compare this year's information to last year's information. If you need it to be in a different format, you can change it from a pie chart to a bar chart or to any of the others. So it's easily customizable. You can delete, you can add. Do you have any questions about the basic architecture?
No.
Okay, then I will go ahead and take you into the inventory section, and we'll move on from there. Okay, this is our inventory module, and you said you do keep a small amount of stock on site. Is that correct?
Yes, we keep the finished products, and we have probably about 2,000 parts that we use in building our product on site.
Okay.
And all these parts are procured from suppliers?
Yes. We do manufacture parts too, though. We do manufacture some steel components, but we don't usually inventory those.
I see. And you have, like, what sort of a supplier base do you have? Like, how many suppliers?
It's pretty large, probably hundreds of vendors. Like I said, we probably have between 2,000 and 3,000 parts, so it's a lot of vendors.
Yeah, because the reason I asked you that is because we have a supplier collaboration portal on the procurement side also, where you can either EDI, XML, or you can send them an email if you have a purchase order, and they can accept or reject if they can deliver the quantity on a particular date. If they can deliver partial quantity and you want to continue with the purchase order, or you want to tender it to a different supplier who can give the complete quantity on the requested date.
Okay.
Yeah, Becca, continue, please.
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, each section will have its own admin section. As you can see, this one does have the company master again, where you can set up your company, but then it goes into where you can set up the actual items for this application. So you can set up your workforce management, your production setup. So if you've got product groups that you need to define, or properties, because you said you had a lot of different parts, those can be defined under the product properties section. And you can also assign warehouses and define where your warehouses are and put in any price lists that you may have. We also have a customer master and a vendor master under our business partners section, and they'll let you go in and define who they are and get them into the system. And this will integrate with the portal that Ashish was mentioning earlier.
Okay. Now also, we have customers, but we also have sales reps that we sell to.
Mm-hmm.
So we have customers and reps both. that sell our product. Would you be able to handle reps too?
Yes,
Okay.
that would actually be under our CRM section. And we would assign their territory.
Okay, that's good.
And then you can assign the product groups and what products that they can work with and what industries, if any, that they're working with.
Okay. And how are your territories defined?
So when you go to the territories, you can define the territories. So this is all configuration based. So you can define the territories in the setup here. But before, so in this case, we have only used 2 characteristics. We can add as many characteristics under the characteristic combinations. That's under this. So, we first set up the characteristic combination to define the territories, what all characteristics the territory is. So is it product, industry, geography? So what all you want to include, customer segmentation. So once you define the territory, then you assign the territory under Salesforce. So you assign territory to the salespeople. And you have your certain sales forecast. Again, in the sales forecast, you have the similar sort of a layout. So you have territories, product, sales location. You can include sales employees if you want to forecast by sales employees. Okay. So for example, I want to look into Washington or New York. So I can pick up whatever planning method I want to use, how much forecast I want to generate, system stores, whether you want to use 2-year history, 3-year history, and then execute the forecast. So basically all those combination form a combination ID. So you see a historical number out here, and then you can plug in your forecast numbers for the sales forecast in here.
Okay.
So after you have sales forecast, you also have marketing, production forecast, and then you can do your sales and operational planning, comparing the forecast numbers to arrive at a consensus forecast by different stakeholders in the system.
Okay.
And you have all your similar sort of dashboards which you saw, like leads by metro, product group. And right now we have not configured drill down, but there is an ability to drill down if you want to further see how is the breakup of this product.
So you can put leads in here.
Yes. So the leads is like you can have your calling list. People, if they connect with the calling list, they convert it into a lead. And okay. If you see, I'll just show you an example here. So most of my data is like if I want a quick summary of my lead, I can click on this icon. This is a general architecture that you have a list view and you have a detail view. So this is what you're seeing is the list view, and I want to see details of any of these leads. I just click on that, just like your Hotmail. So that's the beauty of the system, is that it's all browser-based and very low learning curve because everyone knows how to drill down into.
Okay.
So you can see that this application is laid out like, so some people prefer a long view like this. And if you don't want the long view, you can click on this and it converts it into a tab view. So you can have like the contact details, lead details, what are the opportunities associated with it. You can add a new opportunity to it by clicking on the icon.
Okay.
So it adds the lead, what is the expected closing date, what's stage, high, low, medium interest levels, percentage closing.
On one of these tabs, if there were fields that you didn't cover that we wanted to add, could we add like additional fields with descriptions to these screens?
Yes, you are. Those are like customizable fields if you want to add more. And so it depends whether you want to put an opportunity status, you want to add opportunity status, or do you want to add like an additional, totally a new field to it.
Okay.
So depending on what sort of customization you need is, so if you want to convert, so from the, and the good part is that you have your promotional newsletters going out. It's got a built-in newsletter application or promotion emails that you send out. So you can say select this, or like you can filter it by industry. So I'm sending it to all the communication industry. for the communication industry, I'm running a promotion. Okay, so you filter it based on communication industry or by manufacturing industry, and you create a mailing list for that particular industry. And if you go in here, you'll see those mailing lists. You can create your promotional template. What are you going to say about the cooling towers? And this is also used for your internal communication mass mailing. So if you want to make an employee announcement or you want to make a sales announcement internally so you have like employee sales or employee discount for something, those sort of things. If you want to just send it to the customers, you can send out that if you're running any promotions, then you can send those promotions directly to. So it's got a full-blown editor, email editor for the salespeople.
Okay.
And then this is the send email. It will directly send out the email. Now, this has also got like case management. So if you want to add a case against a customer, a particular lead, you can add a case, which can be a demo or a product problem or product feature request. So you can add whatever type of case you want to add. And then you also have a service request. So if your cooling tower has some problem or issues, you can check if it's in warranty, if it's a serial. So you do serial number management or batch number or something of that sort?
No, we don't.
You don't. So if you choose to do that and you want to capture your warranty details also, here is like a detail of like different product groups, like room fan coil unit. And then you want to pick up like what product has, and if there is a serial number, you want to check the warranty, that is it a paid service or is it still covered under the warranty. You can handle that sort of a scenario also in the system.
Okay.
So it's got a service management, it's got case management opportunities, and then if you are running any events and promotions, so you can do campaign management and promotion management also. In the tool. And the other key thing which you don't have to enter the data again and again in the system. Say for example, Goodyear Tires chooses to buy your cooling fans for their own internal machining unit or something. So you just select this and say convert to account. So you don't have to re-enter the data in the system.
Okay.
So you can now create a sales order directly. And another feature is if you don't like these icons, you can also see it as buttons.
Okay.
So this is convert to account, add to contact, convert to opportunity. So add to mailing list. So this saves you like a lot of redundancy of the data. And as soon as you are in CRM, and if you have certain quotations which you might have given during your like sales pitch cycle, like the lead generation cycle, you don't have to. You can convert a quotation into a sales order directly. So if you go to the quote, you will see again a list view to convert to, and you can select this and convert to a sales order. So you again don't have to re-enter the data. So the entire application has this list view, and you can select and convert to the next document. So you can control the entire document cycle from inquiry, quotation to order.
Okay.
And these orders become available in your production cycle and the forecast. So the production has the entire details of your shift sequences, the machine center, the bill of materials. Again, the view is the same view, list view, and if I want to see, say for example, for the electric valves, I want to see the bill of material. So I can go in there, I can see is it a repetitive manufacturing or a manual method of, or backflush or manual method. And I can also save the details, like if I use the routings. So you can also do product costing directly out of the system. You have routings, and you can create your routings from which machine to which machine the product is going. So you can define your processes and you can add those processes to your system. If you have any scrap, loss, process yields, you can capture those process yields also in the system. And then you have the planning board, which has a material requirement planning, capacity planning. You can also define your production orders. You can issue, so it is a full life cycle of the production order that, again, same view, list view, and so you can see any particular order in the system. So if you see this is like an integrated platform, whether it is procurement, finance, inventory, everything in a single window. So sorry, Becca, I just had to intervene in there.
That's fine.
Is there like anything specific that you're looking for that I need to cover for you?
You know, I'm looking at some of the CRM stuff was interesting to me, and then on the production side, the really not so much material planning, but planning what to build is what I'm kind of interested in how it works. You know, how does the system decide what to build, when to build it, and what dates does it use, things like that is what I would be interested in seeing.
Yeah, I mean, so this is like, I mean, what we are showing you like is like, we didn't have like, we were not sure what all things that you would be interested in. So we did some partial configuration, but we have like a full-blown integrated system where not only this, but you also have bin management, warehouse management, transportation. Now, do you ship your product by, what sort of shipping method do you use? Like, do you use third-party logistics or UPS, FedEx?
You know, we do sell some parts too. We use UPS. We use UPS Freight, and we also use a lot of trucking companies because, you know, we do a lot of large shipments.
Okay. So we have an API for FedEx utility, and we can generate direct sales orders from there. We have a customer portal, so it also enables you e-commerce. So this is, I'm just showing you the production side of it. So what you just saw was like the pieces. This is like one presentation on what Routing Master looks like. And once you have, so this is the flow that you have sales forecast. If you start from, see the screen from the bottom, it's got a sales forecast and a sales order. It gets converted into planned order, the planned order into production order, process execution based on the routings that you configure. And then you issue for production, receipt for production, and the finished product. So this is how the planning board looks like. You can see in stock. You can see what is in production, what is confirmed from production. So you can see the available balances also on the planning board. Now, if you see there's a shortage, like 157 is short here, you can create a production plan against it. So basically, the planning board takes care of all your aspects: sales order, forecast, processes, what is in process, what production orders are released and received in the warehouse. So this was one example that we wanted to show you, and I'll just show you also about the warehousing aspect. So in here, if I go to the warehousing, once your product is complete, like it completes production, or whether you get it, if you procure it from your supplier, you can stock it in your warehouse. You can define your storage types. What are your bin masters? What are bin capacities? So it also does your cycle counting, and if you see like the availability by warehouses, which we just showed you, and then you can receive the product, what shelf it has to go on. You can transfer inventory between warehouses or storage locations. You can do a cycle counting. If the product is to be issued, you have the pick manager, picking, packing functionality. And this also links you into the transportation module, which stores whether you have FedEx or, so what are, if you have your own fleet, you can ship it by your own fleet. If you have different shipping types defined like FedEx, UPS, we have the utilities for generating your tracking number, tracking it all the way till it's delivered to the customer, which gets displayed on the customer portal. So you can keep your customer informed where the product is. And besides this, there is like mass creation of the outbound shipments, inbound shipments. You have route scheduling, transportation planning. So it's got like huge functionality, whatever you like to, and it's all a la carte basis. You don't have to take everything. You just can pick and choose one.
I was wondering, because I think when I spoke to John, I told him, we're not really interested in replacing our entire ERP system.
Right.
The modules, that I was looking at were basically the CRM and the production planning portion of it. Now, how would this system integrate with our existing
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So I'm actually just going to show you that we have some ready interfaces with the system, and the one which you saw initially, the tools and interfaces. So you see that we have certain customers who are on SAP or Oracle or PeopleSoft or other ERPs like Visual, Sage. And then we have certain interfaces also with like ADP, Salesforce, Zoho, PayCycle, Paychecks. So these are all interfaces, and these are certain schedulers which fetch the data based on the schedule we define. You can simulate the data. You can import on an ad hoc basis. You can define any sort of interface because our system schema is laid out in a very well-defined manner. CA is a prefix that we give to cross-application. Now, if you go to CRM and if you have to like integrate it with your say Infor system, or we get the data from your visual system, you see this is like CRM related data. So all our tables start with CRM schema, and then if it is finance, then it starts with financial schema. So sometimes people like to, once they start liking the system, they want even the data to come in, even if they continue to use their other system. So they use our system in conjunction with the other system. So the same way HRMS, inventory management starts with IM, production starts with PPS. So this is inventory related. This is OM is order management. So this is the entire schema that we do. And if you're make to order and you also undertake projects, we have a full-blown project systems where you can track your project's financials, Gantt chart, everything. If it's like a one-time make to order, that you also do the installation of the cooling fans or something of that sort, and you track your projects. So you can define your project, you can define your taskmaster, project status, and all the expenses, budget. So it's got task, time management, resource management, resource allocation, material allocation, employee allocation, risk management, portfolio. So if you want like someone who's expert in your cooling fans and you want to assign that person for this, then it can actually help you pick up from based on the skills.
So is it, can it be set up so that, like, say our order information, we want it in your system, it can be set up so that it automatically pulls, our order detail from our visual manufacturing system into this system?
Absolutely. So that's where we will set up the interface mapping, and which is like merely like one-day job to set up those interface. So that's like very quickly up and running system.
Okay.
And it puts like all the direct mapping. So I'll just show you a Salesforce sort of a thing. So it defines your source field and source tables and your, so this is my target and this is my source, so I can take it from any system, any file format, XML, CSV, and import into our system, whatever iDocs is, like in case of SAP, they have iDocs. In case of PeopleSoft, Oracle, we can directly pick from their database and load our tables.
Okay.
So, Eden, I hope I answered your question. If there is anything more specific, I can answer that.
You did. Probably what I would like to do is, maybe if we could set up like a more detailed presentation, and I could bring some other people in on it of like maybe a module at a time, like maybe the CRM, and really go over like the CRM portion of it. Would it be possible to do that?
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, we are not very far away. I keep going to Baltimore, even if you want me on site. Because this is a cloud-based system, it's 24/7 access. So I just need an internet, or I can even use my iPhone and connect it and show it to you. So
okay.
Me and Rebecca.
Well, yeah, we've got a conference room set up with, internet, projector, and all that stuff. So.
Yeah. So I can even give you a link, and you can run it off your computer. We can do that. So that's not a problem. We can. We'll have John schedule a time with you, and when we can stop by.
Okay. Yeah. I'd like to talk to a few people here because there has been some interest in being able to track sales by territories and things like that. That it looks like your system could possibly do for us.
Yeah, and besides this, I also would like you to definitely take a look at this HRMS portion. This has got something like employee self-service, which if it can reduce one HR person, it pays for itself right away.
We only have one HR person. We already have a CTA system, it's time and attendance. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's Infor product too that integrates visual.
But I believe Infor is like an on-site and like on-premises installation.
Yes, it is. And then they also.
So in our case, what happens is that since this is all cloud and everyone's moving heavily towards cloud to reduce the cost of ownership, so you don't have to maintain your servers and all those stuff. So and also the best part is that whatever new functionality gets added, you get immediate access to the functionality. You don't have to wait for an upgrade or anything.
So how does your billing work with your software? Is it, since you don't really buy or own the software, I'm assuming?
Yeah, so it's like more on a subscription basis, like per user, per month sort of basis, which means that, so for example, typically a CRM user would be like a $10 per user per month. And if you have like one finance, so it's generally on an average a $10 per user per month basis. But say, for example, you want one super user, that's $150, which can access all the modules.
Okay.
So and then there is a one-time setup per module. So if you want us to set up that, okay, we want to define our territories in a particular way, and you want to utilize us for setting up your one-time setup, that's like $500 on an average, a ballpark per module setup. So it's pretty cost-effective from those standpoint that it's not a big burden. Right upfront, big upfront cost like on-premises solution, you have to pay for the license fee, and then in fact people don't understand that they're paying AMC on top of it, which is annual maintenance cost. Now you can spread it over per month basis, and if it is, and it typically ranges from 17% to 25%. In 5 years, you pay for the software, and then you're ready for upgrades to make new investments. So that's typically why cloud has been taking so much of steam.
Okay, and you pay for licenses. Say, we have 20. Is it concurrent users?
It's like typically a named user because you want an audit trail of who is logging into the system.
Okay.
So it's like a named user, but the good part is that you can scale down and scale up. So if you if you feel that, oh no, we are not using these licenses, just reduce our number of subscriptions to just.
Yeah, like with our visual software right now. So, we probably have, say, 25 employees that could use the software, but they're not all in there at the same time, so we only have like 20 licenses.
Right.
So people, kind of get in and out of it. Some people are only even in there for a short period of time. They might need to just jump in there and look at something and then get right out, where others are in there all day. That's what I was wondering. Do we have to pay like for all 25 users, even though they're not all going to be in there at the same time?
No, I mean, typically that's like, because that's where we keep our cost very low is like $10. Like, you can have a cup of coffee for that. So, so from that standpoint, because this is primarily because in case of cloud, you need a lot of data security, and you want to know who entered the system, when they entered the system. So we have like full audit logs, and based on the user authorization, you can take like a module and you can reassign a user. So we have user types, super users, normal user. So you can define your sort of users, and you can reassign these licenses. So one employee quits, then you can also reassign the subscription to another one employee.
Okay. And all the data is stored on your servers?
Yeah, we use like the top-rated Gartner fourth quadrant cloud providers, which is Amazon Web Services and Rackspace.
Okay.
These are the top
for our
most.
email, so.
Yeah, I see.
Okay.
So here is like how you can control the authorizations for modules and what access you want to give, and then you control it. Like, you can control it by role-based access, like payroll admin or whatever sort of access you want to give them.
Okay. Okay.
And it's got full-blown audit trail capability. It's got, whatever roles you want to define, it's got field-level authorizations. If you don't want to display a particular field to an employee, you can do that.
Yeah, do you have any kind of like demos or anything on your website?
That's one of the things that our management has chosen not to leak out this thing, but we have like some demos we have just recorded this demo, what we've done with you. So we have like a non-disclosure agreement that you don't share it with any of our competitors. So we can just send that thing, and then you can accept it on email, and then we can send this recording to you, and you can share this recording, whatever we just discussed.
Okay, yeah, I would like I said, to have a few other people take a look at it.
Sure, and I can also send you a presentation with screen prints.
Okay.
And John can coordinate like the next step as like when your team would be available and when we can arrange for an in-person demo.
Okay.
You also have like variant config scenario that you guys have configurable products. So this guy wants 2 fans on the cooling tower. This one, 3 fans, or white color, blue color, surface finish.
Yeah.
So we have the capability also in the system.
Okay.
Well, so John and Becca, the ball is in your court, so you guys can coordinate with Eden, and as a next step, we'll decide the time when to meet the folks.
Okay. All right. Did you have any other questions for us, Eden?
No, I think that's all. I think once I get this, you send me the presentation, I can kind of show it to a few people here and see, if they're interested or not in scheduling, another demonstration.
Okay, and it's a video recording, so you actually get to see everything that we just reviewed visually. So we'll send that over to you. Take a look at it, and then if anything comes up, let us know. We'll be in contact with you, and we'll try to arrange a date, maybe when we can go on site and give you a live presentation, bring over some material for you to look at. And other than that, That's really all I had for you today.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. You have a good day, okay?
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.